Yellowstone Archery presents Custom Bowstrings Made Easy. Archers Scott Griggs and Dee Wild will introduce you to bowstring tying. Part 1. Single bowstrings to partial systems. Total string systems, bus cables to 3-loop yoke systems. Synchronizing wheel timing. Special colored strings. Flemish strings and attachments. String setup, tying knocking points, peaks. String maintenance for performance, pleasure, and profit. Helpful hints that can save a hunt or a tournament, and hints on selecting bowstring fibers and much more. And now, welcome to Part 2, Crafting the Flemish Bowstring.
To get started, you're going to need a few materials, such as Dacron B50, which has been the industry standard for a lot of years. You're going to need some center serving material, such as Brownell's number 4 or BCY's braided polygrip. You're also going to need a bobbin, such as a Bjorn bobbin or one from Cavalier Pro Server, which works well too. You're going to need some bowstring wax, such as Textite. You're going to need a razor blade or a knife. And you're going to need a tape measure. You're also going to need a Flemish attachment. Makes the job a lot easier. To get started, take your recurve or your longbow, and on the side of it should be the length. This one happens to be a Bear Kodiak Magnum. The length is 52 inches. And we're going to show you the formula used to determine the length of your string. Keep in mind, recurves you subtract 4 inches, and longbows you subtract 3. Now that we've selected our proper length, let's set our string jig down to 32 inches. Now we want to take our Flemish attachment, and we'll just hook it atop these posts. And we're ready to begin. Take one color. Today we're going to work with brown and yellow, so you can see what we're doing here. And we're just going to take a half hitch and put it on this first post. And then we're going to take it and we're going to go down to the far end here, keeping even tension on your spool of fiber. And we're just going to stagger our bowstring fiber. And each time we go around, we want to keep the same amount of tension. Now that you've wrapped 8 strands, just count your pegs. As you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 strands of this particular fiber. And now you're free to cut it. We're going to cut right down the center with a razor blade. Now that you've made your cut, take your first bundle off, take your wax, and we're going to wax them real well. The more wax you use, the easier it is. So we'll take this first bundle and work some wax into it. Now that we've waxed our first bundle, let's just set it aside, and we'll start with our second bundle. We'll repeat the process the same way. Take your second color, put a little half hitch in here, and this goes on the first post, closest to you, and repeat the process. Keep in mind each time you go around to keep the same amount of tension on your spool. And each time we come down to this end, we're just going to stagger our fiber. will come down 8 times, forming our second bundle. We'll have 8 strands in our first bundle, 8 strands in our second bundle, which will give us a 16-strand string. If somewhere along the line you lose track of how many times you've come around your post, you can come up here and do your counting real quick and easy. We've got 8 strands there, so we're going to cut our second bundle. Now that you've taken your second bundle off, put another good coat of wax as we did our first bundle. So when we start our braiding process, we can keep our fibers nice and tight. The more wax, the better. After we've done that, we'll take the second bundle, and we'll lay it aside. Let's take the jig out of the way, give us some working space. Now you can take a tape measure and even out your 2 bundles and measure down 8 inches on your ends, and we're going to gather both bundles together. Gather your bundles up now at the point we marked. We're going to take our first color and we're going to twist this first bundle up, twisting towards us. Twist towards you, braid away, using your finger, your thumb, to hold the 2 together. Take your second color, twist them toward you, fold over top, braid away. Just remember, twist towards you, braid away. Take the second color, twist towards you, braid away. As we move down the tail here, just use your thumb to hold where you're at to keep the 2 together. The tighter you do this, cosmetically it looks a lot better. The more you do it, the better you'll get. It's like the old saying, practice makes perfect. Now that we've braided down here, we're braided down 3 inches. Hold your point of beginning there and just take this and fold it back, forming your loop. Now we're going to take our same 2 colors. We're going to put our yellow with the yellow and our brown with the brown. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to twist this together towards us. We're going to twist the 2 together. Take your 2 tails and just twist them together. Until they blend together. And then we're ready to start on down the string. Now that we've braided down and our tails have feathered in, stop down about 2 inches past. It's going to give us about 6 inches total. And we're going to take a little B50 strand here, a fiber, and right where the 2 tails here split, let's tie a little half hitch in there to hold them. Now put your finished end down here, and we're going to pull our fibers tight. You can either use the top of your string jig if you wish, but you can just hold this with your finger and pull these down here real tight. And we're going to measure down 8 inches like we did on our other end. We'll do the same thing down here. Now we're going to repeat the same process. Take your first fiber bundle here, twist towards you, braid away. Using your thumb to hold it, twist towards you, braid away. Twist towards you, braid away. Twist towards you, braid away. Now that we've braided our two bundles down about 2 inches worth, you can take these two ends and put them together, forming your smaller loop, which is going to stay on your lower limb. Now take your two bundles, and we're going to take our yellow colors, take your yellow tail, and hook it together. And then we're going to put the brown tail with the brown. Blending those together. And we're going to repeat the process. Twist toward yourself, braid away. Twist toward yourself, braid away. Twist toward yourself, braid away. Stop 2 inches past. It's going to give us about 6 inches total. Let's grab our machine now. And we're going to make this string 48 inches. Take your tail out, your half hitch you put in here to hold your two together. And now we're just going to twist this up. As you can see, we're a little longer than our 48 inches. So we're just going to twist it up, and it should come out about 48 inches. You're going to get some stretch in these strings due to the elasticity in them. So it doesn't hurt to twist it up until you come out just right. What I do is I tie up, twist up just a little bit short, and I'll open this armature just a little bit, and then I'll shut it. We need to twist it up a little more. We're a little spongy. Kind of a forgiving string to do like this. You can easy to work with. Real forgiving. Now we got about the right amount of twists in it. We'll just open this up a little bit. Put it on there and put some tension on it. About like it's on the bow. Let's go down here, and if we've got any of these little tails hanging out here, let's just cut them out. This side looks all right. Now we're ready for a center serving. Before you do any serving, I recommend waxing a string before you put your serving on, because this particular place underneath, it's the last time it'll be able to see any kind of wax. Keep in mind, some colors that you use, if you overwax it, will tend to bleed into one another, and you'll get a muddy looking string. I've selected a 21 monofilament to use as our center serving. We're going to take 48 inches, and half of that is 24 inches. So if we measure down here 24 inches from our top loop, right here. There's dead center. The way I do it, from dead center, I come up 4 inches. This works with most bows. So right here, we'll take and make a little mark. And this is where we'll start our serving. From that mark, you can measure down to 8 inches or 7, either way you prefer. And we're going to put our serving on between these 2 points. We've selected a 21 monofilament. Before we put our serving on here, the last time this particular part of the string will see wax, so let's wax it up real good. Okay, we're going to put our serving here. We're going to find our mark, and we're going to want to rotate our bobbin the way we have twisted our string. So our string is twisted this way. We're going to start underneath, and we're going to use our bobbin, and we're going to travel the same direction as the string is twisted. Take your bobbin in your left hand, if you wish, or your right, whichever is easy for you. And just start and create a lock over yourself. Right there you can see, just lock it till it grabs a hold, lock over itself. Then at that point, you can take your tail and hold it out of the way until you get a bite on it. Do this about 5 to 7 times, and take your tail, it's in your right hand, and pull it tight. At this point, take and cut your tail out and continue to wrap in the same direction. Check your tension of your bobbin as you go to keep it tight. If it's too tight, it'll probably break on you when you're twisting your bobbin. You'll know it's too tight, but you want to put these on fairly tight. So play with your bobbin as you go. The more strings you make and serve, it'll become a natural feeling to you. And we're going to take our bobbin and we're going to travel down about 8 inches. Notice as I am winding my bobbin, I don't let it get away. Don't let your bobbin get away from you. It makes for loose and unhappy servings. I always hold on to the bobbin. And that's the reason we're doing our own strings, is to have them just right so there's nothing sliding or coming undone. There's nothing worse than getting out in the field and seeing a serving that is sliding up or down or coming undone. It's not the place to have it happen. When you get down to your mark, take and reel off about 10-12 inches of your selected fiber here and hold on to it so it don't get away from you. Keep it nice and tight. Take the string that's coming off of the bottom and form a loop going on top of the string. And we're going to take that and we're going to wrap to the inside of our loop. And then we're going to continue to back wrap on the inside of the loop. We're going to do that about 10 to 12 times is sufficient. Keep in mind you want to hold this loop tight. After you've done that, take this strand here and just lay it alongside of your serving, and then continue to serve your loop the same way you were traveling with your bobbin. This, it locks it on this end and unwinds it on this end. I prefer to use my thumb or forefinger here as I go around each time so it don't get away from me. We call this a whip finish knot. And once you get down to the end, you've got a loop. Hang on to that loop, and you're going to take your tail and just pull it right on through. And there you go. Take a razor blade at this point and leave about 1/4 of an inch and cut. Now that we've cut our tail, we've got a 1/4 inch tail there, we're going to burn it back. I like to burn it back, it kind of makes a little knob there so it don't come undone if there's ever a chance of it coming undone. At this point, we're ready to put the string on our bow and tie in or crimp on a knocking point. Now that we've got the string on the bow, let's take a bow square and we're ready to put in our knocking point. This particular square is a 6-in-1 tool by Jim Dandy Archery. It has 6 different functions on it. Once we find where that likes to set, we'll take a knocking set, and we're going to come up here 3/8 of an inch and lay that in there. Use these knocking pliers here. Now we're set. Now we can go tune our bow. Now that we've finished our string, tell you a little bit about a Flemish string. Is a real forgiving string in the way if it stretches a little bit during the shot and you find your string is stretching, you can always take and twist it up a little more and put it back on your bow. Check your brace height with your bow square from time to time, which will keep everything in check. A Flemish string is also kind of got a dampening effect to it, being it's got some give and elasticity to it in the shot, which is real nice, and it makes it a little easier on your bow too. This particular string was a 2-lay string with 2 different colors. Keep in mind you can repeat the same process with 3 colors too if you wish. But anyway, practice at it, and it's real easy, and practice makes perfect.
We'd like to thank archery manufacturers everywhere for their time spent in enhancing our sport. And also these organizations for their dedication to archers everywhere. It is hoped that through this series of videotapes that you'll gain a further understanding of the sport of archery.